Live from Northland.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Book Graveyard, vintage genre fiction book channel. Today we're going to be talking horror. I know that's what a lot of you subscribed for. Hopefully this will satiate that need. And we're going to be talking this here. Chainsaw Terror. Shaun Hutson. This is that advanced reading copy that I got from Fathom Press. We're going to talk more about that and this new release that's coming up. But first I thought we would talk about the history. The publishing history of Chainsaw Terror. It's the 80s. There's a young Shaun Hutson, one of the most successful on the UK horror paperback scene. He has 4 hit paperbacks out. Slugs, Spawn, and Shadows. His publisher Star approaches him about possibly writing the novelization to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the hit slasher. He of course says yes, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre rights holders wanted too much moolah, too much money than Star was willing to pay, so they said never mind. But how about this, Shaun? Why don't you just write us a chainsaw novel? Your very own original story chainsaw novel. And of course, Shaun's like, well, hell yeah, bro, I can do that. And he's like, but you know what? Let's just not do chainsaws. Let's add all kinds of power tools. The year is 1984. This is a hot topic in the UK in the 80s. Was the video nasties.
In 1982, under the Obscene Publications Act, police seized 22,000 cassettes in the metropolitan area alone.
These are the cassettes, Driller, Killer and Death Trap, the first 2 of the so-called video nasties to be withdrawn from distribution. In a test case brought under the Obscene Publications Act, Willesden magistrates ordered their immediate forfeiture. In court, a solicitor for the Director of Public Prosecutions called the material an extravaganza of gory violence, capable of depraving and corrupting those who watched it.
Oh, have we got a video?
Yes, we've got a video!
This book has chainsaw in the title, and the stores refuse it. They're like, we're not selling this filth in our beautiful bookstores. So the publisher Star was like, well, we got this book. We got this great slasher book. We gotta get it out in the world. And they repackaged it with the kind of generic title of Come the Night in 1985. These days, the novel in either form are particularly hard to find, especially the pulled version of Chainsaw Terror. So once again, to horror paperback lovers across the world, Fathom Press has done us a favor. They're republishing it. It's true form under the title, Chainsaw Terror in wonderful, not dead at all, mass market paperback size. And of course, like all Fathom Press releases, it has beautiful artwork painted by Stephen Andrade. Yes, painted, not digital, not AI, real, actual painted cover art by Stephen Andrade. It's an homage to 80s slasher movie posters. So you can order the pre-order for Chainsaw Terror right now on fathompress.com. I asked Justin exactly when it was coming out because it says end of January on his website, and it's the end of January. He said there was a little setback of the printers, but it should be out by the end of February. And if it's not, guys, don't bust his balls. He's at the whim of the printers. There's nothing he can do about it. But you, right there, can go order it, pre-order it right now. It should be out by the end of this month, February 2026. And once again, while researching this book, I came upon the Nocturnal Revelries blog, which is a wonderful horror and occult blog with lots of in-depth information. And on their post about Chainsaw Terror, they posted this here French cover, and I just had to share it also and give them a shout out. I'll put a link for them down in the description. And let's talk about Chainsaw Terror. The year is 1978. We're right outside of London. A young lad named Ed Briggs is watching TV when his workaholic handyman dad walks in the house, asks him, hey, where's mom? Bad news, mom's upstairs packing her bags. She's sick as shit. She's out of here. She's had enough of this loveless marriage. She's met a new man. She's going to go move in. She's going to go shack up with this guy. Dad Briggs. He's not a fan of this new information. And he responds with extreme physical violence. Not cool, never okay. He smashes a silver mirror over her head. Shards of slivers of mirror everywhere. He picks one up and he stabs her to death until she stops moving. Then he takes the sliver and he ends it. He ends himself across the throat. 2 dead bodies laying on the floor, and who's sitting at the door watching? But little Ed Briggs, fascinated by the scene, does nothing to stop it. Doesn't scream, "Oh my God, Dad, stop." Jump to modern times. The year is now 1983. Brother and sister, Ed and Maureen Briggs, are still living in the family massacre house. They have not moved out. Ed is taking over Dad's handyman business, and we get a sample of modern day Ed's opinions on women. He's out on a job. The woman who lives in the house is hanging around, being flirty, asking him questions, whether he's got a girlfriend, mocking him, or so it seems to Ed. He feels embarrassed, humiliated. Why do these women act like this? He's disgusted. So he comes to the conclusion that they're all sluts and they need to be put in their place. So it would seem that Dad's handyman business isn't the only thing that he took over from his father. But hold on a second. Ed thinks, not all women are like this. You know who's not like this? My sister Maureen, my dear younger sister Maureen, also an adult. She's an adult also. Let's not get too gross here. She's an adult, and she's not like this. She's the kind of woman that Ed realizes he could really appreciate, if you know what I mean. Poor Maureen. She does not feel the same way. She's sick of living with her creepy brother, who's always insinuating that they're like a married couple. He's stifling, controlling, and jealous, which is not good news because she just met a new beau at work and she's fallen for him. Before dear old Dad himself, he did some alterations to the house, including soundproofing it, which is cool. I wish my house was soundproofed. But Maureen finds living in the house depressing. It's like living in a vacuum. No sound gets out. Every house sound that it makes is accentuated. The dripping faucets or a creaky step, and it really sets the tone of the isolation in the house needed for keeping kept sisters, or also benefits screaming ladies being chopped up by chainsaws. Ed has also made some adjustments to the house, including a peephole to watch his sister take a bath. Disgusting. Thank you very much. He thinks to himself, man, me and Maureen really belong together. I don't know what I would do if she ever tried to leave. While thinking about this stuff, he goes down into his cellar with all of his tools, and he just takes his chainsaw out and starts playing with it. Maureen is done with Ed, though. He barely talks. He isolates himself from the rest of the world. While venting to her Derbyshire boyfriend, Mike suggests that, screw that, just come live with me. We're going to have a happy life together. Maureen, darling, I love you. Maureen is all in, but she's also terrified of her brother's reaction when she has to go tell him, which is what she does. She does right away. Drives over there. I'm out of here. I'm done with this shit. I'm going to tell him right away. And out comes the cleaver. He hacks her in the neck. He chops off her hand while she's trying to defend herself, and then he just chops off her head. He takes her decapitated head, holds it up in front of him, and then down below him is her body, and he's starting to be turned on, and I'm like, oh God, no, don't go there. Thankfully it doesn't, though. So this whole bit is described in excruciating, bloody, gory detail. Her body and her bits, what's left of it, gets shoved into a plastic bag. And he takes her head, he walks up the stairs, and he goes into old mom and dad's room, and he sets her head down on the pillow on the bed, and he whispers to her, I told you you'd never leave me. And there it is. Ed's an up-and-coming serial killer. He's all in at this point. Maureen's boyfriend, Mike, shows up looking for her. He gets it next. It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable to Ed because he was jealous of Mike. But ultimately, he just wants to punish more women. It's all their fault for making him feel uncomfortable. All right, so here we cut to our protagonist. It's dark. It was a dark beginning to this book. Does it lighten up here? Kind of. We got our protagonist, Dave Todd, 2 first names. Dave Todd, the reporter. He's doing a report down in the seedy underbelly of the London streets of Soho. The sex shops, the strippers, the hookers. He made friends with 2 ladies of the night, Valerie and Amy. And here we get some emotional investment, which I know is just going to lead to no good. It's no good for these characters. If the author is making me care. I will say, though, props to Shaun Hutson, showing these ladies as beautiful, real human beings, not as just fodder for the chainsaw. You actually see them as people. 2 thumbs up there, Shaun Hutson. Speaking of Shaun Hutson, before we get any further, I wanted to mention the writing style. It's very vivid. It's very colorful. I don't think I've read too many books with such vivid imagery. It's like if neon lights were prose. That's what this reads like. Back to our disgusting incel Ed. He wants to bang some ladies, and he wants to do it in front of his decapitated sister's head. Different strokes for different folks, you know? But being the weirdo that Ed is, he tells the prostitutes his real name. I think maybe to him, it's like, what difference does it make? They're not going to be around much longer to tell anybody. Or maybe it's just that that's how off he is, that he's like so far removed from reality. There's no consequences to his actions. He can't even fathom it. So, speaking of our dearly departed Maureen and her decapitated head, why don't we check in? Why don't we check in with her with a little description of what's going on with her head at this moment? It was in an advanced state of putrefaction now. The skin had lost that waxy sheen, was now dull and flabby. The eyelids were closed, covering the eyes, which were now almost fluid. Soft, mushy eyeballs, which looked like coagulated grease. One ear had withered like a flower exposed to flame, and the eyebrows and lashes had come away in places. A clear fluid had trickled from both nostrils and solidified on the drooping top lip. The cheeks were sunken, a piece of bone showing through on the left side. Little gore poetry for you. So the rest of the book follows that same trajectory. Dave Todd, the reporter, remembers of the Briggs case where the dad killed the mom. He thinks that the son has taken over the dad's place and is now a serial killer. So as you can tell, this is a slasher. This is a slasher movie. Straight from the 80s. Not one of the kids ones, though. There's no kids at camp getting killed. It's not a teenager one. It's no supernatural entity with a mask on with cool theme music. This is grimy, big city streets. It's sleazy and porn shops and neon lights. 2 a.m., hookers, pimps, killers. The ladies who are working the streets are just doing it because that's what needs to be done. But then again, some of them like it. So it kind of reminds me of one of the old Men's Adventure magazine stories where they pretend it's true. It's like the secret life of a sex worker. This book leans hard into the gore. We're talking like Herschel Gordon Lewis territory here. How about another gory passage for you here? Edward was panting for breath. He studied the McCullough. That's the chainsaw. He studied the McCullough and with a short shout of pleasure drove the monstrous blade forward. He ripped it into her, pulverizing the delicate flesh, tearing upwards through her body, the barbs hacking effortlessly onward as he pushed, driving further until they began to churn through her intestines. Blood sprayed in all directions. Now he wrenched it free, briefly hearing the drone of metal on bone as it crunched her pelvis and lower ribs into 1,000 splinters. Entrails seemed to snake upwards like the bleeding tentacles of some stricken octopus, and a stench so rank it made him sick wafted up from the riven cavity of her stomach. As you can see, it likes to spend time on the brutality. It's not in a rush to get through the gore. It lets you swim around in the entrails and the cavities, the riven, empty cavities of their stomachs. It's kind of hard to believe that this came out in the 80s. It almost seems very self-aware, like it was written in the modern time, like it was written yesterday, of someone who can go back and watch all the movies and pick out all the best bits and put it in their news story. Sort of like a Stranger Things, but for slashers. So it kind of surprised me that this was from the era. This is from the era, and it's absolutely perfect in that aspect, in the slasher aspect. I've never read a horror book like this. I'm not a big extreme horror fan. Not into it. I'm not into the spending time on the grosser aspects of gore. I like it when it's fast. It cuts through. I love a good head explosion, but that's it. I just want it to explode and move on. That being said, this is from the 80s. Their version of extreme is a different kind of extreme than what is called the extreme horror these days. So remember that when you're going into it, as I'm selling it very gory. It's not a modern day gore. It's from the 80s. So, but in the 80s, this was probably at the forefront of nastiness. What I really liked about this, the aspect that I really liked about this book was the Soho scenes, the sleazy, seedy underbelly. I loved the ladies and the reporter, and how the reporter's kind of in this, he's our eyes in this underbelly of the city. And he's of course trying to get the ladies, trying to get Valerie and Amy to leave the life and better themselves. And when you mix that with all of the killing and the crazy chainsaws and power tools, it made me think that this was like a mix of the movies, like Taxi Driver meets Driller Killer. And I think that probably sums up this book pretty well and how it feels in tone. It has that atmosphere, the street atmosphere of Taxi Driver and Driller Killer, because Driller Killer is just as urban, just as big city as Taxi Driver. And then it also has the bludgeoning of people with power tools. And there you go. There's Chainsaw Terror. If you are a fan of gloriously gory 80s horror slashers, then this is the book that you have been looking for. Once again, you can get it fathompress.com right now. It's on pre-order. Should be out by the end of February. No promises. Don't throw a fit if it's not. I'll leave the link down in the description. Thank you for watching. I will see you later.